Warning, incoming game over. Warning, incoming game over.
Good evening, Winnipeg Jets fans. My name is Ty Dilello, and welcome here to the Game Over Network's post-game show of the Winnipeg Jets defeating the Detroit Red Wings 6-2 here on Wednesday night. It's it's another very exciting night for Winnipeg as the Jets move to 9-1, still the number one team in the National Hockey League this season. After coming off a loss in our last game to Toronto, the Winnipeg Jets bounced back in a big way. They kind of got the charge going in the first period with a flurry of goals. Obviously a big game for Kyle Connor in his home state of Michigan. About 50 of his family and friends watching. He put on a really great display with a goal and 2 assists. Gabriel Velarde also got on the board. He had 1+1. Niederreiter had a goal, and also the play of Neil Pionk, a pair of goals tonight for him, and then the other goal went to Colin Miller. And Hellebuck did his thing in net. There's a little blip towards the end of the second period where the Red Wings, capitalized on a pair of power plays. But other than that, it was a really great game from the Jets. I think after the Toronto game, I think there was a sour taste, and a lot of fans, mouths, including mine, just this team didn't look good. It reminded me a lot of maybe some of the bad parts from last season or from the playoffs where the team didn't look themselves. And tonight I thought they looked a lot better. Before we go any further, I just wanted to give a quick shout out to our title sponsor, Hyperdrive Hockey. So check out the flagship show of Game Over Network on the Game Over Network channel. Hyperdrive Hockey, all things hockey across various leagues in multiple countries. Whatever it is and wherever it is, Max, Daphne, and Kev have you covered for all of your hockey news with a steady dose of fun and fan engagement. You can find Hyperdrive Hockey on the Game Over Network YouTube channel or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast on the Hyperdrive Hockey page at thegameovernetwork.com. Maybe let's get into a little bit of the Jets game tonight, a little bit of a recap. I'm missing my brother Braden tonight, so we're going to try to do this. We will do this myself, and we'll see how it goes. As I mentioned on the beginning of the show here, I thought the Jets really took it to Detroit kind of, right from the start. Which was nice to see, as I believe the opposition has scored, I think, in all but 2 of the Jets' previous games this season. So I was surprised the Jets came out, quick goal, and then they just followed it up. Of course, maybe they're the better team on paper. They're supposed to do that, but the Jets are kind of notorious slow starters in some sense. So when Kyle Connor's feeding Gabriel Velarde a couple minutes into the game and for a nice goal, that really set the tone for the Jets to kind of carry play, I thought, throughout much of that first contest. It's going to be a little awkward going to the chat by myself here as I'm looking at the phone here. But yeah, Brendan Labarre, our fellow Game Over Winnipeg host, did Kyle Connor invent hockey? It sure looks like it. And I've historically not been maybe the biggest Kyle Connor supporter, but I really liked his play this year. And even towards the tail end of last year, I liked his play too, and we'll definitely get into some Kyle Connor talk later in the show. Mark Cianquita, that Kyle Connor goal was a thing of beauty. Yes, it was. Yeah, it was. He's been doing that a lot this year, that the release, the moves. He really looks, at the age, I think he's getting, close to 30 now. You always wonder when players get to that age, when they're going to start to slow down, or maybe, when can this player take another step? Can Kyle Connor get better? Can Mark Scheifele get better? Because we've seen, Connor and Scheifele kind of play at, kind of a similar level for the last, I would say, almost 5 years, where you kind of, what you're going to get from them. They're good, first-line players on this team, but I guess maybe their play and their production output was maybe a little bit predictable, while This year with Shifley, and I think Connor especially, I think he almost found a new gear. They look a lot more comfortable with and without the puck, I would say. In years, I think Connor himself is feeling very, very confident. It looks like just watching him kind of dance around the ice as he does. He's fun to watch. I will say that, and he's putting a lot of eyeballs on the Jets. A lot of pundits and media are all giving Kyle Connor a lot of praise and saying, look what Kyle Connor's doing in Winnipeg. So if he can kind of become, maybe be that reliable superstar forward, the Jets, certainly have desired for a long time. If he can kind of come into that here as he gets into his late 20s, early 30s, it's going to hopefully set the Jets up to be, a really good, I'm not going to go and say cup contender yet as we're early into the year and the Jets, have really disappointed all of us in the playoffs as of late, but, we're trending to be a very, very, very good hockey team that a lot of people did not expect, with a couple of the losses that we had in the offseason, just for player personnel and the fact that, maybe we weren't as deep defensively. The Jets are still playing to that defensive structure that Rick Bowness brought to this club a couple years ago, and the Jets still, it seems to not really matter who plays. We're still not giving up a ton of chances to the other team, and that's, I say that with when you dress players like Logan Stanley too. So it's very impressive. The work that Dylan DeMello has done, like Colin Miller, some of these shut down defensemen. They really, I think their play is really giving the offense confidence to kind of go after it and and put some goals in the net as they did today with 6 goals. And Brendan also says the Jets are undefeated when Ty hosts. That is the case. I think we're maybe 6-0 when I host. 1-0 now when it's just me. Brendan Labarre was hosting this Game Over Winnipeg show the last 3 games. While he did a phenomenal job, I tried to tune in as best as I could. I thought Brendan's show with Lauren Williamson from Game Over Toronto was over an hour show. It was great. I was actually stuck sleeping at the Montreal airport during that show as I had a long way to get back to Winnipeg. I was curling in Halifax last weekend, ended up spending 10 hours at the Halifax airport on Monday before a 9 p.m. flight to Montreal. And then my Winnipeg flight wasn't until 7 a.m., so I had to make the best of it at the airport. And I did not make the best of it. I won't get into too much, but it was a very rough night, and I was very relieved to get home to Winnipeg when I did on Tuesday morning. We're gonna go to with that we'll go to the second period. Now let's hit that, and let's do another ad read. Do another ad read for LaRouche. Game Over Network is an independent production focused on community, inclusion, and quality people. So if you're interested in supporting the Game Over Network, we have crowdfunding options available. In the description of this episode, you'll find a link to our Patreon page, and we're also working on a page through LaRouche, which is a crowdfunding platform for companies originating in Quebec. I actually never heard of LaRouche until starting to do these ad reads. I guess it's more tailored to French Canadian, the Quebec province. So for LaRouche, we're aiming to raise $15,000, and if we hit that goal, we'll gain access to government grants that will allow us to hopefully employ more people and provide more content, better content, more stuff on the daily here at the Game Over Network. So if you have any ideas for what you'd like to see as giveaways from these crowdfunding efforts, please let us know in the comments on Twitter, Instagram, or our ever-growing Discord server. Just let us know. We're always open to feedback and whatnot, and your support is incredible. So we thank everybody that's helped us out, helped make Game Over Network have a great start. We're only a couple weeks in, and it seems like we're growing every week. I'm really enjoying it. I think a lot of the other hosts are really enjoying broadcasting, doing these post-game shows on this platform. So very thankful, and we're thankful to everybody for their support. As we get into the next period now, I thought we'd maybe talk a little bit about the Jets' first line. There was a lot of, you know, maybe not alarm bells, but a lot of Jets fans were highly critical of the Connor Scheifele Velarde line, especially after the Toronto game. Just in regards to maybe they shouldn't be playing together. Maybe there's better line combinations. Out there with moving Nikolai Ehlers up to that top line. Scott Arniel had the kind of the line blender out during the Toronto game and did move Ehlers up at one point, but ultimately, for tonight's game, he just went back to the same old, and yeah, and the players went out and proved the coach right. It seemed the 5-on-5 play, of this first line that the stats say they give up more goals than they score. They flipped that tonight. In the first period, I believe all three of the Jets goals were 5-on-5 from the Jets top line with Connor, Velarde, and Pionk. So that was they really kind of proved the naysayers wrong. I thought we'll see what fans say after the game on Twitter or on message boards and whatnot. But I thought they did a really good job of maybe shutting up fans and just showing that they they can play well together. They can be when they're feeling it. They can be successful. They can make plays, and they look dominant. I know that Detroit's not considered a powerhouse by any stretch of the imagination, but Detroit's a good team, and this first line was kind of toying with them. It seemed at times. They looked very good out on the ice. They didn't allow anything. Detroit scored twice on the power play tonight. But 5-on-5, the Jets looked, fantastic. The dominant team. We won 6-2. So I think, Scheifele, Connor, Velarde, they're going to get a long leash. Rick Bowness gave them a long leash. Paul Maurice gave them a long leash, and that goes back, of course, to when it was Connor, Scheifele, Wheeler. But it seems, the right winger can be, interchangeable. I think the main thing is Connor and Scheifele are kind of glued at the hip. I think that Connor and Scheifele themselves, I would say especially Scheifele too, they want to play with each other. I think Kyle Connor alluded to the media this morning that he doesn't really care who he plays with, but he knows he's successful with Scheifele. And I think obviously he does want to be playing with Scheifele too, but I think that's what he thinks will help the team win, and that's best when we have the first line the way it is. It seemed that, like I said, Scott Arniel's going to give this line a long leash for this season, and as he should. The Jets are now 9-1 this year. We have 18 points banked. We're the league's best team, so I totally get it why we're not trying to change anything up. Based off one game with Toronto, who we never seem to beat. Yeah, I would love to talk more about that, but it seems like ever since, this one game when the Jets beat them, I think during the pandemic, we never seem to beat Toronto, which is very annoying because, Toronto, is the team that I think the Jets, the players and the fans love beating the most. So that's frustrating as heck, but, the Jets are 9-1. We're certainly not changing anything. Maybe it'd be nice if maybe Logan Stanley came out of the lineup for Fleury or Coughlin or hopefully Billy Heinola when he comes back. Heinola was practicing today and has been for the last few days. Coach Arniel said today in the media, as well as Jared Anderson Dolan. They're both practicing in non-contact uniforms, which is a good sign. I think that we'll see both of those guys in action within the next week or two. It just gives the Jets a little bit more depth with Anderson Dolan on the forward group, and then I could see Billy Heinola slotting in with Colin Miller on the third pairing, a little bit more, maybe a more sheltered role as they kind of get Billy into games and stuff. I also think that Logan Stanley isn't going anywhere, unfortunately. I think he'll regardless if Heinola's the 60 that plays that kind of third line left D position. I think Logan Stanley's going to play games still. I think Hayden Fleury's going to get some games still, but I think that Dylan Coughlin is kind of going to be the odd duck out. You're going to see him on waivers at some point when Billy comes back. So yeah, we may lose Coughlin to waivers, maybe not. I really doubt it. He signed with Winnipeg for a reason. So yeah, let's do another ad read as I ramble on here. It's hard doing this show when you don't have a guest. I can't ask myself questions. I don't have a partner to go to when things get maybe awkward or I run out of stuff to talk about. So I really commend my other Winnipeg host, Brendan Labarre. He was able to talk for a long time by himself for the last couple of shows, so I have to learn maybe a thing or two about that. So let's we're going to talk about Game On, which we haven't seen yet for Winnipeg. So Game Over here has you covered after the game, but in order to get ready to watch the Jets, you've got to get your Game On too. So Game On Winnipeg is a short-form daily news podcast covering everything that you need to know about the Winnipeg Jets. Debuting soon. I've been saying that for every show so far this year, and it has not debuted yet, but eventually you can get all your Jets news in under 10 minutes, Monday through Friday on the Game Over Winnipeg YouTube channel and in podcast form, which you can find at thegameovernetwork.com/pages/Winnipeg. So we do like the Game On as well. I would recommend going over and checking out some of the other Canadian markets for that, just to see what kind of Game On looks like. They're usually quick, 6 to 10 minute shows, kind of just telling you everything, what happened in the games night before, what's coming up, just brief recaps like that. It's good to get your fix, and it kind of gets you going for the next game. So I believe Harrison Lee is our Winnipeg Jets host for that. I haven't heard when that's going to start, but hopefully next week. I know I've been saying that for a while now, but yes, yeah, Game On Winnipeg. Check it out. All right. Another kind of, as we're in the third period, I want to talk a little bit now about a story that kind of came to me earlier today. I saw kind of an old friend, Thomas Narmo, who was used to be a former Norwegian junior hockey goalie. It's a little bit off topic, but I thought it was interesting nonetheless. Thomas Narmo was a junior goalie from Norway that I worked with about 10 years ago or so. I saw him come up today because he's doing like MMA, UFC fighting now over in Europe, and I stumbled upon it randomly, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool, because I know he had retired from hockey a long time ago, and then I didn't know what he was up to. I think I lost touch with him, didn't talk to him as much, and yeah, so he's to paint the picture, like he's this really massive like guy, 6'7". His I think his fighting name is the Last Viking. So full beard. I think that kind of paints the picture. He's just a massive dude, and that's what kind of drew me to him in the first place. He was a 6'7" goalie in Norway, and he was very I guess unheralded, like underrated coming up. So to kind of rewind the clock back, this is maybe I would have just graduated high school. I would have been 18 or 19, so this would have been 2011. That's how long I've been kind of doing this hockey media stuff for. That dates me. 2011 is when the Winnipeg Jets came back. I had graduated high school that June. I wanted to be a hockey writer, author, stuff like that. So I thought, this is great. The Jets are back. I'm going to start a blog. So I started Jets Talk, which was like one of the first blogs for the Jets that kind of came out when the team was back, and we did game recaps, news about players joining the team. It was really exciting time. So it kind of I guess really wanted me to get into hockey media and stuff, and I had a blast with it. And then so I did that, I think, from the time the Jets came back till around maybe a year, but I kind of got a break. When the preseason was started for the Jets' first year, I got hired by Bleacher Report. And Bleacher Report is now it's a massive sports media website. A lot of great writers and talented people are on there. But back in 2011, it wasn't as big. It wasn't what it is today, as I was an 18-year-old kid who like had a Jets Talk blog, and they seemed to like it, I guess. And when I say they hired me, they certainly did not pay me. It was not paid. I think the one perk I remember was that I had kind of unlimited access to Getty images and could save whatever Getty images I wanted with that, which was cool. But I for that first Jets inaugural year, I was the Winnipeg Jets bleacher report blogger, author, article writer, whatever it was. So I did a lot of features throughout that year. I got to go to a Jets. I went to a Jets practice or two. I interviewed Nick Antropov, which was really cool because I was a big fan of his growing up. I was a big fan of him being from Kazakhstan. I was a big fan of their international team. As of Evgeny Nabokov was my favorite goaltender growing up. That anybody who knows me would know that stat. So yeah, so I wrote for Bleacher Report, and then this is a long story, but we got to make this a longer show as I'm by myself. So just bear with me. It's a good story. Thomas Narmo was a goalie in Norway at this time. He was maybe 17, 18 years old, and I stumbled upon a YouTube video that he'd posted, and it was just it was like a camera from the stands, recording him from one of his games. I think he was playing at a tournament in Plzeň, which is a small town in the Czech Republic. And it just said in the comments, just in his description, it just said, "I'm a 6'7", 16-year-old goalie from Norway. Enjoy my video." And this was like around the time when like NHL teams were starting to like draft these taller goaltenders and just kind of throwing darts on a board to try to hope to strike gold. With a tall goaltender that could play. I remember like Anders Lindback, was the 6'7" goalie in Nashville. There were kind of Mikko Koskinen and like other names, like these really freakishly tall guys that maybe weren't the best goaltenders, but they covered up so much space. Maybe they're good. That's kind of I think what teams thought back then. And yeah, I was just really intrigued watching this video of this goalie. He was actually pretty good. Like I thought there were some flaws to his game maybe, but he made a lot of saves. He was playing for one of the best junior under 18 teams in Norway at the time. So I found him on Facebook, and I reached out to him to do an article to hopefully promote him, maybe promote some of his either his video or his Elite Prospects page, and just maybe something just to get him on the radar. So he was like, I think he was over the moon that someone from like North America was interested in talking to him about hockey and like wanted to hear his story and kind of see, and from my point, I wanted to like help this guy as much as I could, and try to my goal was to get him drafted. So he kind of gave me permission. Well, first off, I did the article. The article was a big hit. It got a lot of views and comments and stuff, and people were intrigued. This unknown goaltender from Norway, 6'7". People were saying, "Oh, the Toronto Maple Leafs should draft him." The Carolina Hurricanes or whatever. So he, seeing this, he gave me permission to kind of be his agent, and start contacting teams on his behalf. So I remember that early that summer of, I guess it would have been 2012. I was contacting, NHL teams and sending him sending him videos of this guy playing, like sending the articles, just showing, someone to put on your radar, whatever. And I remember, about a week before the draft, I was in contact with a couple of NHL teams, Pittsburgh. I was talking to one of their scouts. It was cool that I was able to even get these scouts' phone numbers through the internet, because I had no way of contacting these guys if I could. So I was using every kind of online phone book resource to look up these guys. So I ended up talking to a Pittsburgh scout. I want to say a San Jose scout. It could have been Anaheim, and a Colorado scout. And we were talking kind of back and forth. Kind of in the weeks leading up to the draft, just showing them, what this goalie was about. Thomas Narmo, put up some additional YouTube videos that you could see more of his action, seeing him in action, and I think that some of the teams did contact Narmo reached out to him personally to interview him as well. So it was an exciting time. I just wanted to see like my new friend, succeed, get drafted, maybe make something out of his, hockey career. And a lot of the scouts had told me like that, if the draft, doesn't work out, like there's still like this, the CHL import draft happens kind of after the NHL draft, and it's another way for, him to, get drafted by a major junior team and, try his luck there. So, anyways, the draft went by. On the second day, I was hearing a lot of rumblings that he was about to get picked. I was excitingly like checking my phone every little bit. I was talking with Thomas a lot throughout the day. He did not get drafted. Sadly, I remember being very upset about that. I remember he took it well, but I think he genuinely thought he was going to be drafted to the NHL. And yeah, later on, the CHL import draft happened. We were going. I can't even imagine to begin all the emails I sent out to CHL teams to try to get this guy drafted, but it never happened. I thought that one team would take a gander on him. He was playing top junior hockey in Norway for Vålerenga, which is in a good team like in Norway's top junior league. So he never, it was too bad. So he did eventually sign. After his U20 year with Vålerenga, he signed and played in 2013-14 for the Lahti Pelicans in Finland for their U20 team. So he played in that junior SM Liga. He played in 8 games, I think, before he got injured. He had a big, I guess, career-ending injury that way, and just enough where he could play hockey for a couple of years. So he stopped, and that was it. But I always wondered, like, what could have happened if he would have gotten that break? What if he would have came over to North America and played, pro hockey or top junior hockey? Like the Pelicans, playing for the Pelicans in Finland was certainly, a big accomplishment, as well. But yeah, I was very kind of saddened by that. But it was cool now to see him doing MMA. I kind of checked him out. Has a really good record. He's one of the top kind of UFC fighters in Norway now. So it's it's kind of, if hockey didn't work out, I'm glad that UFC worked out for him, and I hope he's doing well. So Thomas, I'll shoot you a message on Facebook one of these days, and we'll catch up. Hope you're keeping well, and yeah, just had some nice thoughts about kind of what those days were like back in the 2012 when we were trying to get you drafted to the NHL. I know we got off topic there. I just thought it was a decent story that kind of came into my head today. We got a comment from Rodolfo Claire, and congrats, the Jets won clearly. I want to see the highlights. Yeah, it was a great game, Rodolfo. Hopefully I'm saying that right. It was a great game for the Jets for sure. If you just YouTube type in Jets Red Wings highlights, they'll come up instantly. I think the Jets and Sportsnet are pretty good at putting up the highlights. You can see all the nice Kyle Connor goal, the nice Gabriel Velarde goal, Neil Pionk's pair of goals. It was nice to see. It was a great game for the Jets. Chile, wow, yeah. So Rodolfo, greetings from Chile. That's awesome. We got some Jets fans in Chile. I'm happy that you found this this show here on the Game Over Network in Chile. That's awesome. Let's go to the merch now before we get to the overtime period. So there should be some merch on your screen now. Yeah, so what better way to support something you love than by rocking it as clothing? Well, Game Over's apparel line has dropped with 3 unique designs. Whether you feel the nostalgic pull of our retro skater design, want to make a statement with our established design, which is currently on sale, want to wear your love for goalies proudly with our Live and Die by the Goalie design, or if you just need another coffee to get through the winter, we have you covered. Designed by Brady Chalice from Game Over Winnipeg. Use the QR code on stream now and take a look through our apparel store and help us rebuild local sports media in Canada while repping your community. Yeah, scan the QR code, pick up something if you so desire. There's a lot of great stuff. I haven't bought anything yet, but I'm going to soon. There was a nice goalie T-shirt I was looking at, and maybe a mug for my co-host Braden. He's not here tonight, but he really loves the mugs. He's got a birthday coming up on November 12th, so maybe we'll get him a mug for that. I think he'd rather me take him to a Jets game, but the mug might be a little more cost efficient. Get this off the screen. And Rodolfo says, I'm actually a Leafs fan, but I'm happy for the Jets. So that's a little surprising. It's you don't see many Leafs fans and Jets fans. Yeah, I don't know. We appreciate you anyway, Rodolfo, and I appreciate you watching, as I usually don't get a ton of comments here. And I see we're up to now 6 live viewers. That's 6 live viewers, and the Jets have 9 wins on the year. So that's that's fantastic. We're kind of in the overtime, I guess, ending towards the ending of our show here. So do you have a question, Rodolfo, at all? I can leave it up for a minute or so before I wrap up. This is kind of the time, I guess, where I answer any questions, or I just continue rambling on about Jets nonsense. In the meantime, when do the Jets play? They play on Friday. The Jets are back in action on Friday, November 1st. We're into November now. A road game against Columbus. So, I like I like that. I think that's another 2 points for the Jets, hopefully. Although Columbus is not looking like a bottom feeder this year, which is a big surprise. And I don't want to say that like kind of laughing, because obviously their best player, Johnny Gaudreau, passed away, which is devastating. But Columbus is rallying quite well, and they're also missing their captain, Boone Jenner, who's got about a year-ending injury. So yeah, Columbus is 5-3-1. 5-3-1. That's incredible. That's it's better than a lot of teams. That's better than Pittsburgh. That's better than Boston. Better than Nashville. Better than Edmonton. Yeah, I would love to see Columbus kind of do better. I feel like they've kind of, they've had a lot of bad luck with injuries. Some of their players, and just they've never gotten a first overall draft pick, and they've kind of been in the mix for that lottery pick a lot, but they've never really gotten that breakthrough superstar in the last 10 years. I know they got Rick Nash the one year in the early 2003, but that didn't lead to any playoff success. Their playoff success was that came from acquisitions like Bobrovsky, Panarin, Duchesne, in their prime, like players they traded for. So I'd love to see kind of Columbus. I'd love to see them do well, first of all. I'd like to see their prospects they have upcoming, which they have a lot of. I hope they pop off. And I hope that they get that first overall pick one day, because they deserve to have success probably more than anybody in this league. Just not on Friday. Yeah, Friday the Jets are going to beat them. So, yeah, on Friday the Jets are probably going to win. And with that, we're going to wrap up the show now. Thank you for watching and tuning in. We will be back here. I will be back on Friday night, probably with Braden. If he wants to stay up for it, I know it's late. It's about almost 10 o'clock here, but Braden should be back on Friday as well. They play at 6:30 again against the Columbus Blue Jackets. That's 6:30 Central Time in Columbus. You can join us about 5 minutes after the game ends here on the Winnipeg Game Over YouTube page, as the Jets look to make it 10-1. We're going to go for our 10th win of the year. It's great being a Jets fan. 9-1, first place in the league. Let's keep it going. So we hope to see you here. Once again, I'm Ty Dilello, and for here on the Game Over Winnipeg Network, just want to say goodnight, take care, and we'll see you next time. Go Jets. Hit that outro.